which means that I'm giving you €500,000. I'm giving you €30,000. There's no way I'm gonna give it if I don't show like a little bit of respect towards you, because up until now we have never had a single installation cause any damage. No, it's just a danger for the house, for the family, for everything else. You're too friendly. Like just constantly giving, asking, oh yes, we can do that, we can do that. The price, okay, I can do that. Okay. Is there anything you cannot do? Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Focus Rates channel. As always, I'm happy to see you here, and today I have a short clip for you from one of my sales trainings with the solar team. This is actually a company that I'm consulting. We don't just do sales training there, we do a lot of other stuff. This is a meeting that we did, I think, 1 or 2 months ago. I'm not quite sure. We were focusing more so on how they differentiate themselves from other competitors, and how clients usually review different quotes, how clients usually perceive the different, I would say, sales experts, or in this case, solar consultants, photovoltaic consultants. I think that this is some really important and useful info, so I decided to pull it out, cut it, frame it here. It's not going to be the most beautiful video, but it has a lot of valuable information inside, so please bear with me, especially on the audio. I had to, of course, kind of modify the audio and the video where the guys are talking, because, that's at the end of the day, some personal information there. And if you have any questions regarding the solar industry or maybe something else, you can always contact me in the comments or on the email that you're going to see above. And of course, I hope you have a nice time watching this.
That we've got better components, better models, better inverters.
The thing that you're talking about now, it's just repeating yourself. So, in my opinion, I would put in front our superior customer service. Let's say we're not a company that's looking just for profit. In the way that customer will stand alone in 2 years, we'll still have your back.
Now, do you guys see why I'm asking you? Everything that you guys are saying, by the way, it's good, it's not bad. By the way, what you said is also really good. What you said is good, right? Let it be the models, the installation, the support, working for years, right? Now, this is what I'm asking you guys. You need to build a story. Imagine it like this. If you take a book...
You just said before that we shouldn't expose that we have the best models, the best inverters, and the best of top of the best of anything.
Yeah, or even if you say it, me as a client, because right now, like I give you...
Yeah, you as a client already heard that thing 5 times before.
Yeah, and do you guys agree with me that even if it's B2B, at the end of the day, it's people and they react on emotions?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that even for a CEO in a business, you're gonna like immediately hook me with emotions. But if you at least 1% move my emotion, you're gonna be different than the others. That's the idea. So that I'm gonna like jump and give you money, but just a little bit. If you move me, you are now different. So the story is what makes you different, and how you say it. And if you take a book, as I said, if you take a book and imagine you're just reading like summary of the book, if you're just reading this is not the story, right? This is not the book. This is point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is the same as saying the panels are amazing, the support is amazing, right? The installation is amazing, but you're just giving me the summary of the book. Now, if you read a small part of the book, you open somewhere and you read it, then you can get my attention. So you can say all of that, for instance, right? And you can add, let's say if it's a B2C client, because I want to show you that you can make out 1,000 stories. And it's important. And I would immediately say, let's say for the B2C guy that said, everything with the panels and everything else, I would say, right? And then I would tell the guy, by the way, do you know that we're working in 4 or 5 countries? He's going to say, no. Well, we are. We are working in those, and we usually work B2B. Like we're working with businesses. Now, me, myself, I have worked for 2 years with businesses, with big facilities manufacturing. And I can tell you it's a pretty pleasant place to work. It's nice because you do 1 or 2, business communications. It's a big project. It's nice. But for the past year, I decided together with some of my colleagues to work mainly with houses like yours, with individuals. And the reason for this is that while I was passing, just talking with clients, talking with friends, I realized that a lot of the companies that are working with the houses, because truly a lot of houses don't understand about the installations, there's a lot of stuff that is misleading them. Everybody can say good models, amazing installation support and everything, but these houses here, you live with your kids, you live with your wife, right? Yeah. And you've been living for what, 10 years? 10 years. And you're going to live what, 25, 30 more, 30 more. And that's why I decided to work with them, because a lot of those families with kids and everything, they got installations that they would have to change or switch in like 5, 7, 8 years, and nobody's selling them. Or the models are not mounted properly on the top of the house. Maybe this can fall if there is a strong wind or something. It's just a danger for the house, for the family, for everything else. And I'm not saying that everybody's doing such installations, but I have seen it enough times to decide that for the past 6 to 12 months, I have to work mainly with houses, because I see that so many people are installing, solar on the house, that there's a big danger for them to get a low quality, low status installation from a company that is brand new on the market and doesn't know what they are doing. So for me, for you to make the best choice, which would be us, from my experience, would be to really understand that you're doing it for the family, and that you should not make absolutely any compromises with the price, with the quality, or anything else. And I hope you understand that. Do you understand that? Yes, I do, obviously. And then you continue from there. So just me saying those small things that usually sound, and by the way, you need to be confident, obviously. Just by saying that, in short, I said, I care about your family, but say it in a story that's logical. And this client, at least 1%, he has moved and separated you from the competition. This is what will always separate you. This was an example for B2C, right? For B2B, it's going to be the same, but do it more professional, as I did it in the beginning. If you don't do this, you will always only compare yourself on paper, only on paper. And now me as a client, I would really just pick the best price. I'm not gonna like okay, so you're all giving me the best. What's the lowest price? So do you guys understand me? It's like super crucial, and story building is the way of sales. Like if you don't do, by the way, I'll give you an example. I helped a client that's a graphic studio, for graphic design, and they do logos and branding. And they put me into a meeting with their clients, and I was like, "Look, I'm just gonna talk because I'm working like you guys. For instance, I have told you guys you can pull me into a meeting with the client if you want. So I would usually just talk as if I'm a representative of the company. And we're talking with this company. It was a transportation business, and they're doing branding on the cars. And I told him like his average price of my client was like 1,200 euro. I told him give them 5,000 euro for the logo. He was like, "Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy." I'm like, "Let me join." So we talk with them, and long story short, the client is wondering, but look, how can you really guarantee that the logo is going to be so good that it's so expensive? And the first thing that I told him, just logically, is I told him, "Do you know the Nike logo?" He said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you know that the Nike logo in the beginning it costs $25 because they gave him stocks, and then the stocks rose, and then they went to two or $20 million. Like the logo costed 2 million when he sold the stocks. Do you know that?" I didn't know that. You can check that. You can Google that story. So I told him, if you really trust your company and you don't want to pay 5,000 euro, you can give us a percentage of the company, and as it grows, like we can just go there. but I'm sure you're not gonna do that, right? He's like, yeah, I guess I'm not gonna do that. And then I told him, look, we are like really, me myself, I'm a really driven by art person. You cannot really explain art. For instance, when I go to sleep, I put a coffee mug right next to my bed, because when we're doing a design randomly at night at like 2 or 3 a.m., I would just wake up with the most amazing and brand new idea on how it should be changed. And instead of just falling asleep because I'm gonna forget it, I usually just take the coffee, sit on my desk, and start working at 3 a.m. And this is something that I cannot even explain to you. It's something from like it comes from the heart. It's something that I have to connect with you, with your company, with your brand, and what you're doing. And these are things that if I start explaining it to you, would it really be a design, or would it be like some kind of a calculation? Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're just paying for a person to be himself and to express himself in your company. And then that becomes your company. So if you trust how we're talking and what we're doing, then you trust your company and you should work with us. And we closed him without any issues. So building and that story, yeah, obviously it was made up, but building a story like this for him to connect personally with you, to understand who you are, it's super important. Even if it's a business like this, like him imagining how you work and why you work, like that's the story. Now, do you guys get me? And by the way, you can always add, and a lot of those companies have been saving for this or are using an expense of 200, 300, 500,000 euro, which is a big chunk for some companies. And additionally, I have seen that if they have to switch the panels or if they have to change the installation, some of them even have to fire employees because they don't have the money for it. So I cannot, like, it's not just about safety. I don't want to see people get fired for nothing. And additionally, you can, by the way, explain it in a logical way. When I'm saying installation and when I'm saying fire, do you understand what I actually mean? He's gonna be like this. Have you ever used a lens, right, from the sun to burn down the grass? Have you used the lens or watch videos? Like everybody knows it, right? When you use the lens for the okay. Now, obviously, depending on how you concentrate the sun's light from the lens, sometimes the fire starts immediately because it's really strong. Other times you have to wait 1 or 2 minutes, right? He's like, yeah. Okay, so if there's a really small miscalculation on how the panels are installed and on what angle they are placed and where the installation is, whether or not it's going to start burning in a span of a couple of hours or a day or whatever, when the time is like summer and it's really hot, it doesn't matter, because this small miscalculation now has concentrated a lot of heat in a specific place, and now that's going to start burning, and that's not okay. So miscalculations, even if it's a small or a big one, usually starts a fire. You cannot take a chance there. You cannot take a chance. Just like with the lens, if you're just waiting enough time, maybe it's gonna take 5 seconds or 5 minutes or 1 hour, but it's gonna start burning. And when it starts burning, like, what do you do then? What do you do then? And just shut up and just be like this. And then you just finish. Up until now, we have never had a single installation cause any damage. And this guy sold, if you do it like this. And just tell him, and when you give him the quote, just tell him, you can look at everything in the quote, but always look at what I just told you, because it doesn't say it in the quote. And just give, because he's gonna look at the price, right? So just give it there. And just and go from there. Okay? Money is there. So there's two main ones. Money is one of them, but money is 10% of the usual objections. Because if you know how to do financial justification, if you know how to calculate in a long term, you know how to calculate my expenses in 10 years, and you can calculate that right now the installation, just like the electricity, is the cheapest, because if the electricity rises, the installation is also going to rise, right? Then it's still logical, if you catch my attention, for me to maybe pay you. Maybe I pay you, maybe I don't, right? But the fact that the electricity is low, I would also tell him that's why also the installations are low. That's why you might have subsidies in the future. That's why we're really fast. That's why there's such good models on the market, because it's all competitive. So you can choose to continue to pay your electricity, but if it skyrockets, bear in mind that also the project might skyrocket in price. It's all a matter of perspective. Okay? So the price definitely can be there. But do you understand that I can always explain that?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay. Let me ask you this, guys. Everybody here has a car. When you bought your car, maybe you bought it due to money, like you wanted to get something to drive, right? But has anybody here bought a car that they really like? Something you really like?
Yes.
Yes? There we go. Did you care about the price?
No.
Okay. Has anybody? Yeah?
I have a good price for my car.
Good price, but you like the car. If it was higher, would you have bought it?
If the
Mm,
price
yes.
was a bit higher.
There we
Yes.
go. Okay. So what's that called? What you did there, what's it called? That's interest, right? You're like, you loved it. You're like, fuck,
Fuck, this is my car.
I need this car.
you need this car, right? What I'm trying to explain is usually the main thing, if you have a good installation, you have good project, it's good quality, it's my interest. I can tell you everything I want. My roof, my money, my expense, everything else. But if you're able to build a good story and you're able to explain the long-term losses, even not just the profits, now this becomes my priority to pay you today. Otherwise, I can always say to myself, I'm going to do it in September. I'm going to do it in November. I'm going to do it like whenever. And by the way, you told me last week that you guys are expecting subsidies in March, right? Subsidies in March. This is the best urgency in the world. Do you guys understand what's like? This is amazing. I would immediately tell them, look, if you don't have already installation or a project, and if you haven't started the documentation, I'm not sure if you're gonna get anything. And just so you know, we have a statistic. Like, we've been working for many years. For the past 3 years on subsidies, we have a statistic on the requests from companies and from clients. And when a specific number of requests for subsidies passes, after that, the chance of getting a subsidy goes a bit lower, actually a lot lower. Now we are close to that limit. We're close to that limit. And if you're able to start, at least to start the documentation and to actually go into a project now, you have a pretty good chance of getting a subsidy once they come out later, because they finish out quite fast. Now, if you follow my advice and if you follow what I'm telling you, I'm gonna do my best for you to get that, and for you to have the like one of the best installations out in the region, and for you to also get energy from that. You understand me? And then you go from there. Maybe they're gonna give you an objection, maybe not. But this is an amazing, like, you have a natural urgency, a natural event on the market, because I've worked with investments a lot. Natural events on the market, like urgency like this, are really rare. Because after that, you need to play a lot with words. Whereas right now, you have like something really logical. It's gonna come out. Do it now, please. Now, I want to just show you guys that when you are working with a client, this is. Do you see my screen? Excuse me. Now, I showed this one time, like 1 month ago, maybe. I want to say it again, because if a person doesn't track this, you will lose deals all the time. All the time. This is the most simple way. At the end of the day, we're trying to be simple, right? This is the most simple way to track where you are making a mistake. Where you're making a mistake in a conversation with the clients. Usually, a lack of interest, so no interest, comes from maybe low trust, low information. I don't know what your position is, and lack of respect. Now, just to get this clear, I hope everybody understands, the terminology here. The opening is the start of the conversation, right? Here, you don't actually see my screen, right? See my mouse. You don't see my mouse. Hold up. Let me just do it like this. Do you see my mouse now? Yeah, you do. Okay. So the opening is the start of the conversation. This is the place where we exchange information. If it's companies, your company, my company. If it's a house, you and me. So we exchange just like who we are. This is the opening. The KYC, know your client. Know your client. This is more information on my goals, why I'm speaking with you about solar, where I am, do I have an opinion about price or not, do I have a budget, when do I want to install it, like all of the normal things. The normal things. The listening is when you go from the KYC to the actual questions about where is the money gonna come from. So it's not just, for instance, I have 120,000 euro. Amazing, great. Is that like separated from your revenue, other expenses, an investment, a credit? Because if you don't know that, you might send him something and then he's gonna tell you, I need to wait for the money, or I need to. So you need to really get into the details. That's why it's called listening. You need to get into the details of the client and understand really where is everything coming from. Everything. Like this is usually where a lot of people make mistakes. It sounds the same like KYC and nobody does it, and you skip it. And for instance, you're going to have a client that says, yeah, I have the money, and you skip, and you're like, okay, good. So what we need to do, hold up. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Just to get it clear, like what sorts of money are we talking about? Oh, 25 or 250,000. Okay, like is that estimate coming from something that you looked online? Or is it just because we're talking right now? Like, have you actually made research on how much it costs, or somebody told you this? Well, it was another company. Oh, okay. So he spoke with another company. Like 2 years ago, I spoke with one guy like this. Like they skipped him, and I was like, hold on, where is that coming from? And he's like, well, 2 years ago I spoke with the company, but they didn't come back to me. They did a project and they didn't call me. What the hell? Like why? And then you go there, because that's a real problem that you're gonna get when you start closing him, because he has now like there he has like a bad opinion about companies. So if you don't know that, you cannot handle it. And closing, obviously, you close the deal, the money, right? So the lack of trust usually is always going to be directed towards you. I don't trust. Like he's talking funny to me. I just don't like the way you talk. I don't like George. He's too pushy or whatever, right? When you lose that, they start losing interest. The lack of information can be lost inside of the middle of the conversation. So this can be lost in the whole from 0 to 100, from A to Z. In the whole conversation, you can make a mistake. Whereas lack of information means that I don't understand your product. I don't understand what an installation is. I don't understand it fully. So if I don't understand, like, for instance, what explained to me, where the burn can come from and the small differences, if I don't understand that, I might have low interest as well. Because now I trust you, I like everything, but I'm not sure what you're putting up there. Okay, it's solar farm. Okay, cool. I don't know what it is. The lack of position can come from the listening, the details, and the closing. The lack of position, by the way, means that I don't understand what's in it for you, for the company. So I don't actually understand the story behind you. So this here is, I don't trust you. Like I get what the company does. It's mutually beneficial, but I don't trust you. Whereas here, you're talking, but I don't really like, are you here just for the money? Are you here to like make the market better? Are you here to work with me for the project or 10 years? Like what's happening? So I don't understand your position on the market, which is important because there's so many companies. Some are quick, others are slow, good, bad, right? So this is where you go into the competition that we spoke about. This is the competition. And a lack of respect. Can somebody give me an example of lack of respect from a client, that the client doesn't respect you? Because it can come anywhere. Can anybody give me an example of how a client maybe has showed disrespect towards him?
Let's say I think that we have here the problem that with my customers.
that I don't know, she's always too busy. She don't take time. She is postponing the answer and meetings, let's say.
Okay, that's one, right? What else?
When I introduced myself, they said to me, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in some meeting. I cannot talk to you right now." So what can I do with that? And
But that's okay. So that's the opening. So usually this is the most simple example, right? I'm in a meeting.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that's a full-on lack of respect. I think this is a natural reaction towards people because they don't know you, right?
when the customer ignores you,
Yeah.
this is one of the point when we can see lack of respect. And the other one is if they give you some rough questions like, how do you know what is the best option for me? Well, I'm the expert, so why this is why you call me.
So I've been doing sales trainings for more than 10 years with my own teams and then for 5 years now with other companies. I'll tell you guys, the most common thing in lack of respect comes from the fact that you don't know how to handle yourself. So some sales reps, I'm not talking about you guys, just in general I'm saying, right? Some sales reps are too much customer service oriented, and I start pushing you. So they're like, "Oh yes, I'm gonna do this. I'm okay." Like you're just servicing him. You're too friendly. Like just constantly giving, asking, "Oh yes, we can do that. We can do that. The price, okay, I can do that. Okay, is there anything you cannot do? Is it, do you know what I mean?" So if you have that, like too much customer service, the client usually starts looking at the quote only. That should not happen. Like basically, he doesn't take you for anything. If your clients are looking only at the quote, which is important, it's not that he should not, but he should look at the quote, at you, and at the company. It's three things. It's not just the quote. So if he's looking only at the quote, there's a good chance that I am too much service oriented. I'm doing everything for the deal, and I'm hoping he's gonna buy. Hopefully he likes the price. Hopefully he likes us. This is not sales. So that's one. Another way is if you go to the other side. If you're too pushy and you're too sleazy and you're like, yeah, of course, this, that, right? Fuck, like leave the quote, man. You have the money, or what? You know what I mean? If it's too much there, then also that's gonna lose respect. You need to be amazing at being a leader in the conversation, like an actual leader. Like you gotta be like, this is your home, this is your house, this is your business. You need to make sure that I feel like that. And when you go into a lack of respect from the client, usually it means that you have to do a lot of sales development, self development. I'm not like even joking. Because if you're talking, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, if I'm gonna pay you money, like I'm a person, right? If I'm a house, how much is the normal house? 20, 30,000 euro. How much is like does it cost? 11,000, 20,000 euro, right? And the business projects are how much? 100, 500,000 euro, right? I'm speaking only with you. I'm speaking with I'm speaking with I'm speaking with you. Are 90% of the time you are in front of my face, which means that I'm giving you €500,000. I'm giving you 30,000 euro. There's no way I'm gonna give it if I don't show like a little bit of respect towards you, because I'm gonna send you my money. So this is one of the biggest problems. Like people don't like. A lot of people think that I'm sending it because of the installation only. I'm sending it only because I like the price and the models. Actually, you're doing a lot for me to give you my money. I don't want to feel like a jackass. Like, why am I giving my money to this guy? In some cases, by the way, if a client likes the quote a lot, he's gonna say, can I speak to someone else? If he doesn't respect you, can I talk to someone else? So I want to give you your money, but I don't want to give it to you. So I'm not saying that this is with you guys, but I'm giving you some examples that I have seen in the majority of the teams that I have worked with. Not just in solar, in IT, cybersecurity, investments, banking, you know, this should not happen. And what do I mean by this? I'm going to give you a couple of things that will help you. That will help you fix this. And this is again simple, so you know where to go if you feel that there is a mistake being made. And excuse me, this is the next page. So this is where you can make a mistake. This is the next one. If there is a lack of trust, or you want to build trust, if you want to build trust, that's what I said a little bit earlier. It's usually storytelling. It's about feelings and about goals. It's not about your models and if you're using Jinko or whatever else. Trust is built with stories, because I want to know what's happening. Lack of information means that you are talking to me in your opinion. So lack of information means that you're saying these are the best panels. They have this and this license and certificates. They have this and this. Okay, well, I just need to take your word for it. Whereas it's much better to give examples with clients. Most of our clients install this panel because currently it's the best one on the market. This is a totally different sentence. I don't need your opinion. I'm a client. I don't know you. Just tell me how many clients use that and if they're satisfied. That's a much better information for me, because I certainly can trust 100 clients that have installed this panel, right? And also circle back. If they don't understand, just ask, what exactly do you not understand? A lot of people don't do this, by the way. I know it sounds funny, but the client doesn't understand something and you think you know what it is and you start talking. You start, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, what it means is blah, 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 blah. No. Just like, what exactly do you not understand? Is it how it's guaranteeing this? Is it how it's placed? Is it the montage? Like, what exactly do you not understand? Because you got to make him think. If I'm not thinking and I'm like lazy and I'm sleeping, who are you selling? Like if I'm listening to you, I need to be able to respond, right? So like this, you're also qualifying the client if he's serious, because maybe he's not serious. Maybe he's like thinking about something else. Lack of position means that you need to really be able, in short, this is easy. You need to be able, in short, to explain why your company, not me, why my company is interested in working with him. Hence, we're a company that currently is expanding on the European market, and we have a trajectory that we're going to be one of the biggest in 10 years on the European market. Not in the, like right now, we are the biggest, like one of the biggest in the country already. Like we are aiming to provide the same service to everybody. There's a lot of companies that don't do this. I don't like that, and it's going to give a bad name to solar. We're giving the good name to solar. Simple as that. Like just one sentence. But people skip it because they say, yeah, but it's obvious. Like he knows it. Why do I need to say something so simple? Why do I need to explain myself? You need to explain because this is a client. The client doesn't really actually think that way. He only thinks about, am I going to spend my money? This is too much. This is what they think. So when you're telling this stuff all the time, you're relaxing him. Otherwise, if you don't do it, he's only going to be thinking about how much money he's going to give you. Well, he's not going to buy. Nobody likes to give money. And sadly, if you have lost my interest, good luck. My respect. If you have lost my respect, good luck. Usually, what's best is to confront them if possible, in a good way. If you have lost my interest, by the way, guys, my respect. If you have lost my respect as a client, there's just most probably you're not gonna fix it because you cannot sell. Like if you have lost my respect, but you can try to fix it by simply challenging this and saying, by the way, I'm sorry if I have said something offensive or funny, or if I'm not doing something right, can you please tell me like if I'm doing something wrong? Because maybe, as you said, let's say this woman, like every time she picks up, but she's like, leave me alone, I don't have time, I don't know, some other, like, right? You can always do that, and you will see that it's still difficult. So usually it's best to just reschedule and try to restart the conversation with the person, and also to admit on the reschedule on the next meeting, to admit, by the way, I'm sorry if I sounded a bit strange last time. Let's say you did a one-on-one with me, and then you go and you're like, by the way, I'm sorry if I sounded a bit strange last time. It's just that in the beginning of the year we have so much work, it's difficult for me to concentrate, and sometimes I rush, I don't listen a lot to the client. So today I'm fully concentrated and focused to see how exactly we can help you, and of course after that it's up to you. Okay, so I do apologize if this meeting is different than the last. No, it's just like the most human thing in the world, like just admitting your mistake. That's how you regain respect if you have lost with some client. And you would see how they relax, by the way.